Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome. You're today. So, I got a few decks yesterday. I ended up booking an extra night and I had some time to kill. So, I was going to spend some time at the mall and then I passed the Barnes and Noble. I was like, oh, snap, let me go inside the Barnes and Noble. Let me see if they got any decks that I want. Um, and one of the decks I got, it's the Archeo, Understanding and Developing Your Archetypes by Nick Bantock. And I bought two books. Because I'm going to start reading again. Honestly, I kind of want to get my whole life together. This is the deck. And reading is a part of what I want to get back into. I used to love reading before I got a Nintendo 64. And Glover on the Nintendo 64. I went from being an outside and reading kid to a kid who plays video games, to a teen who plays video games, to a man who plays video games. So that was my trajectory. Now I'm trying to be a man who does all that and also reads. And the book I picked. But all of that aside, Sagittarius, I'm going to use this for you. We're going to get one archetype and then we'll sort of build it out. I kind of had an idea of like building spreads around archetypes. Maybe I'll still do that. Who knows? But we'll take a breath. Also, apparently, something that I am unintentionally collecting this year. Oh, sorry. I guess I should have gave a warning. It's bells. So they had bells at the wedding. I got a bell as one of my souvenirs. I got a bell as my souvenir when I was in the UK, but it ended up being my mom's. So, hey, Matt, how you doing? Thank you. It's my Red Wing Blackbird shirt. I used to do it when I did weekly releases. Thank you. How are you doing? And it says growth on it. It's for Sagittarius because Sagittarius is growing. The bell says ring the bell and wish them well. Okay. Wishing you well, Sagittarius. There you go. Ooh, it's kind of ringing in my ear a little bit. Let's just get right into this, Sagittarius. It's been nearly 3.5 minutes of exposition, but sometimes exposition is part of the message. I would love like one of these because I've barely. Oh, yeah, I would love one, and then 15 fall on the table. I've only looked at two. I've barely gotten into any of the decks that I got. I got them right before I came home. I had to work yesterday. I had to work after I got home. It was terrible. One more breath. One more. Okay. Sorry. This is about you, Sagittarius. Oh. That's 3. No. No. 2 at the most. I feel like this cut makes my face look different. It reminds me of the first time I saw Rob without a mustache or a beard, without facial hair. I was like, what? Anyway. Okay. You know what? We're going to do 3 different ones. Actually, we're going to do 4. And I'm just going to pull right off the top of all of these. And then I'm going to pull the one at the bottom and put that on the bottom. So if you're watching this post live, you'll be able to go right to your archetype, Sagittarius. And I will timestamp them as I go. A reminder that timestamps are approximations on this channel, as is nearly everything. So, hola. Yes and no. So not how I would imagine anyone else does it. I'm not a huge follower of spiritual tradition, I guess. And then if I'm unboxing it, then no. But I will after. It's like my field does it. You know what I mean? And if things feel, and then I am mindful to do what I do. But how are you? I need to get the timestamper. Let's say intro 000001. I'll just go in order for the sake of simplicity. No, I won't. I really want to start with the third one for some reason, so I'm going to start with the third one. And I set it at 7 minutes. I just got to keep these in order. So this is 1. This is 2. And this is 4. 1, 2, 4. Okay. So if you chose the third one, you got the poet. And the bottom of the deck is it's the box art. The Observer. Eve, hello. I think I thought of you, but I don't remember. This is for Sagittarius. Sagittarius gets 4. So we'll try to keep these relatively short. The Poet and the Observer. What's interesting about this is this feels like it's very much one of those it's like when you're watching people, or if you're watching a process and you see how it can be improved. It's like from an outside perspective, you get a greater picture. You can see more of the whole from the outside. Boom. Now, the Poet and the Observer. What deck would I use with this? I guess I'll use the Wild Unknown Tarot because it popped into my mind to use. And I'll also read them from the book. Since this is a new deck and I love reading books, because sometimes the book offers things that... okay, yes, that's how I was going to do this. So the first card is going to be the Thing, and then the second card, the card that was at the bottom, is going to be the Persona, because I have 2 for every entry. So it's the Poet with the persona of the Observer, which I kind of love even more, actually. Where the book? So let me find the poet. There's the observer. And that is not the poet. MNOP. OP. The poet is after the observer. So the attribute. The attribute is going to be the top card. The bottom card is going to be the persona. So the attribute of the poet is the poet lets his or her there. The poet lets their imagination run free. Their words concentrate and distill, making visible the ethereal, bringing focus to beauty and inviting us to pause and consider. An elegant romantic, they merge rich experience with the unexpected, synthesizing the essence of every moment, making the world more vibrant. Their words help you filter through thoughts and feelings in order to reveal your most noble self. I gotta keep an eye on my phone because if they text about food, I gotta be able to reply. See, 1 second. Sorry, Sagittarius. I mean, I guess I'm kind of sorry, but I'm not. I mean, I am. I am. Kind of. So that is the attribute of the poet. With the persona of the observer being 1 second. Is the observer like all persona? There's a lot to the persona of the observer. He's so inquisitive, watcher, wishing to comprehend the way others think and act. When encountering a stranger, he begins with pathology, looking carefully at the way a person holds their body. Are their shoulders up or down? Do they stick their chin out pugnaciously, or do they let it hang slack? Are their eyes still or sliding? The observer watches without judgment. He mimics them, arranging his body to fit theirs. Once he becomes them, he asks, "What is my attitude towards the world?" He watches the way they carry themselves, how they sit and stand. He takes note of the small details in their appearance. Are they slovenly or squeaky clean? Do they seek admiration or proclaim rebellion? Are their fingernails chewed in anxiety? Do they fret with their hair? Are they masked in makeup or naked faced and openly exposed? Are their shoes polished or scuffed? Do they frown or smile around the eyes? He looks for signs of mood swing and temperature change. Do they tend to be first or last to speak? Do they sense when to stop talking or are they inclined to blather? The observer sets aside his prejudices, including his assumptions, fears, attractions, and repulsions. He understands that misuse of his powers of perception will backfire and cause self damage. Honestly, I'm lost. That's probably partially because I'm trying to get dinner. So there is a little bit, I feel like it's a little bit with the attributes of the poet and with making everything more rosy, poetic, because there are poems that aren't necessarily happy, right? Like tragedy exists. Um, but it feels like something about the observer is to not be lost. It's to become something but to not lose yourself in the process. It's also to let go of judgment. I think there's also something here where it's like you can get a good idea of something, you can get a good read, you can try your best to embody, but it feels like without having that experience of being the whatever you're observing, it's almost like just keep in mind that you're observing the thing. Keep in mind that you are projecting yourself into a certain situation, but you are not what you are observing. And so it's almost like there may be limitations. And so it's to not treat something that you observe as if it is full truth, because there may be something that you don't see. Right? With the super poetic whatever, it's like when things turn to fancy, sometimes the more mundane, sometimes the less pleasant, sometimes the not dazzly, sparkly thing is it's easily overlooked. Or sometimes it's like with the poetic eye, we try to focus on what looks mundane and make it spectacular. But in the process, there are other things that we overlook. The truly spectacular, not truly spectacular, the more conventionally spectacular. There you go. All right, Wild Unknown, clarify this for me, please. How do we do this? So I'm gonna cut it here. Top three cards for the poet, the attribute. Yeah, there you go. Bottom three cards for the persona. The Chariot is left after that. Hey, there you go. So the top three cards, it's the Nine of Pentacles, Strength, and the Ten of Swords. It's 9, 11, 10. I would be tempted to go 9, 10, 11, or to even go 11, 10, 9. But it came out 9, 11, 10. Oh, okay. It almost feels like equilibrium, or it feels like it's like you're trying to measure something, right? And it's like if you don't know, it's like you can get lucky and get it exactly on the first time. It's one of those um, where you slide the weight balance scales instead of a digital one. And so it's like you put weight on, and if it's too heavy, you take weight off. If it's too light, you add weight. And so it feels like it's almost teeter tottering until it hits that spot exactly. That's why it's like 9 and then 11 and then it hits the 10. But when it hits the 10, it feels like everything changes. And it almost feels like there's a journey within these cards themselves. It's like there's this Nine of Pentacles stability that you start with. And then for some reason, there's something more, something else, something in addition that you want. So you muster up the strength to surpass your limits or to go into some space that you wouldn't necessarily think yourself capable of, at least easily navigating to. And then it's almost like there's something within the self that gets unlocked. There's something within self that is discovered, but that discovery of self completely changes how you view yourself. And so this might actually be a space of like introspection. Like maybe you're looking back on your own life, on your own experiences. Maybe you're growing nostalgic, or it's just a period or time of introspection and retrospection. And from where you are now, it could be easy to almost see how everything had a sort of rhythm to it, how one thing led to another, to another, to another. And it's almost like maybe when you were in some of those spaces, it sounded like nothing but noise and chaos. But when you put that part, that section into the melody, into the symphony, it sort of has its part. This is not necessarily where I thought this was going. Are you observing yourself? And I could imagine like Sagittarius observing themselves if there's, and that's this, that the new thing. If there's something that Sagittarius is wanting to do, if there's a change in direction, if there's a pivot, if there is something that Sagittarius is, because strength is here, something that you're going to go after, it's almost like you might be observing yourself, observing where you're going, and trying to see like if it would work, or trying to see what you would need to do or what you would need to change to make that transition smoother or easier. The bottom of the deck is 535, the Hierophant, the Three of Wands, the Five of Pentacles. This is the persona. Well, the persona, it feels like the persona is one of, it feels like end of the line. Like you've gotten everything that you can get out of a situation with everything being as it is. And so if there's anything else that you want to get, something would have to change. Or you may be realizing that again, it's just like it's end of the line. There's nothing more to be gained or gleaned from something. And maybe it's an insight that, so we're going to take another turn. Maybe it's an insight that you have, because the Hierophant could be a certain relationship, and this relationship could be like a job that you have or an area that you live in. There's something that you've committed time to sort of doing, or you feel bound to it in some way. Now, with the Three of Wands, it feels like there's something that you desire, but it lies outside of this. That's why it's like through the looking glass, through this little tiny peephole portal. And you may be realizing that you're not going to get it sort of where you are, or that something about it isn't capable of fulfilling something. I wouldn't, I guess there's all kind of Sagittariuses and all kinds of Sagittarian energy. It just feels almost uncharacteristically suffocating is the word I want to use for Sagittarius, for like a Sagittarian energy. Like it feels uncharacteristically slow. It feels uncharacteristically heavy or difficult. And it feels like nothing that Sagittarius wants. It's almost like it's a drain on Sagittarian energy. It feels like it doesn't give back. it doesn't participate in an exchange that like Sagittarian energy likes. No, like maybe an Earth energy would love it. If it's a little like slower, if it's more stable, if it's more predictable, so you kind of sort of know what's coming or what's going to happen or what isn't. And so then maybe the observer could be all of these things that you try to do to like have some semblance of happiness or contentment or to like make things okay. I'm not saying you got to lie to yourself um, necessarily. But what's interesting is it's almost like it feels like the more you try to make yourself okay with something, or the longer you stay in this, the more you start to daydream of something else, the more your mind wanders somewhere else. So I almost wonder, Sagittarius number 3, if you aren't who you play yourself to be. I'm going to look in the Lenormand before and after the mask because it feels like mask energy. Not necessarily in a bad way, but just in a way of like, if you have obligations or if you can't do something, but it feels like really you're somewhere else. And I'm just going to look in this deck as it is. So it's 41, the Well, 40, the Mask, and then 27, the Letter. Sorry. So what's interesting about, so you get the wishing well in the Letter. It almost feels like though, so it feels like maybe you are self-sacrificing in some way. And you are doing everything that you can just to again like try to find some kind of peace in what could be almost endless internal conflict because maybe you're doing something that you really don't want to do, or you're doing something that like it just pulls out of you, it drains you. It feels like with the wishing well in the Letter, it feels like some kind of divine intervention, honestly. It could be divine intervention, or it could just be some authentic you. It could be your inner child. It could be, it's like something bubbles up. It's like the more you do this, as you're waxing poetic, thinking about all of the things that like you could do. And maybe you are very actively like mentally like planning, like I could go on a trip to go here, I could do this, I could do that. Maybe you don't necessarily make it to actually booking, but it feels like I want to say it feels like the divine or your angels or your guides are almost like trying to provide you ways out, question mark. And maybe it's not a full separation. Maybe you rebalance things so that like you do what you want for a certain amount of time and then you do what you're obligated to do for another amount of time. Or maybe you do just leave. I don't know. That'll be different for all of you. The choice, it feels like the burden of movement, though, lies with you because the Chariot here is one horse. And then the Hanged Man is behind the Chariot, with the Emperor behind the Hanged Man. And then the Knight of Wands is behind that. The Five of Swords is behind that Knight of Wands, which would be another 5. It's almost like hey, is that Zelda? I'm doing pretty good. How are you? It's almost like it's like if there's something that you want to do, it's almost like this very sort of future forwardy like thinking. And like you're projecting yourself into this space, but then it's like there's something that you got to do to get there, right? It's like eventually you got to start going into the gym, or eventually you got to start drinking more water, or you start doing something. It's like everything starts somewhere. And because everything starts somewhere, all things find their end somewhere as well. But it almost feels like there's this like little temperance, some temperancy energy between beginnings and endings. And temperance is Sagittarius traditionally. So, you. Hey, back to the Chariot, the Hangman, and the Emperor. Something within you at the endings and beginnings. So, I feel like there isn't much advice, sort of, in the cards. I will ring the bell to wish you well, but it's all on you. So, I don't think you really get advice. It almost feels like there are things in your life that are waiting for you to choose them, or to make some kind of change, or to like step out. It feels very like trust fall energy, where it's like, someone, something will be there. Somehow you will be taken care of. It makes me think of oh, what was it? Ain't nobody say Bixby. It makes me think of this thing I saw on Twitter. It was like, can you explain this gap in your resume? And it was like, that's where he carried me. And I sent it to one of my friends because he's like, oh, because I'm like, I want to do something different. Like, I want to do something I'm passionate about. And then my friend was like, well, you can't just quit. You can't just leave, because then you'll have a gap in your resume. And if you have a gap in your resume, that looks super bad. And I was like, yeah, but like there are things that I could do in that time. Like if there's some kind of certification I got to do, it's like, yeah, I can do both at the same time. But if I don't got to go to work, that frees up a lot more time for me to actually do something to get towards where I want to go. He's like, oh, well, you can't have a gap. You can't have a gap. So I sent it to him. Um, but it's that like 2 footprints in the sand, and then there was only one. And okay, so that was 3. It actually does feel, though. It feels like, I don't know if that's Piscean energy trying to help you, the feminine side of Jupiter, if you are the masculine side of Jupiter, the other side of Jupiter. But it feels like being poetic is good. It also feels like it might be difficult when you like snap out. Ooh, no! Oof. I forgot that I set those there for a reason. It's fine. I almost mixed all the cards up, but it's fine. I didn't. Um, it might, like when you come out of that dreamy, poetic mindset and you face your reality again, it might feel kind of meh. But it feels like there's something good is in there for you. Aww. Hearts for Sagittarius and Eve and all the Sagittariuses. So that was 3. Let's go to 4. Why not? I just got to remember how I did this. So 35. I'll do 35, 35. 4 is 3, 5, 3, 5. Okay. So 4 should be the back one. This is 1. This is 2. That was 3. This is 4. So the top one, your attribute is the warrior. And it's funny because I opened the book to the warrior. And this is it's in the book somewhere. And I saw the kanji. And I was like, what is that? The attribute of the warrior with the persona of reflector. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Hold up. Let me put these other cards away. I kind of want to go for the Osho Zen Tarot, but I don't think I will. I feel like I should, but I won't. But I will. I should. I'll do it. I'll do it. Oh, sorry. I only get an hour of pure white screen on this one, so if I don't get to 1 or 2 and the hour is up, sorry. I'll show you what your cards are. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. I would do that though. That sounds like something I've done before. I haven't even used the Osho Zen Tarot in a hot minute. In a hot minute. That is not the drawer I thought I pulled out. This is not the drawer I thought I put out. This is the drawer that I wanted. This is the drawer that I need. We'll see if this one doesn't make my head hurt. Now I gotta put these back. Is Shayna in here? I don't know who else watches anime, but that's Attack on Titan. Okay. I'm going to actually pull these before I even read it. Is it the 6 of Rainbows that this is kind of making me think of? I feel like I haven't used this deck in a minute. It feels very like smooth. It feels very silky. I would love like one card. One card for the persona. I guess we'll do the persona first. The reflector. Oh, I feel the headache coming in. Oh, I feel the nausea setting in. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay. I'm actually going to leave this one over here. This is the persona. So the persona, it like fell out. Here is the attribute. Here is the persona. This is where the clarifier for the persona fell out. And I'm going to leave it there. All right, now let's get to the attribute. One card for the attribute, please. One card for the attribute, please. Okay. Oh, two cards. All right. Oh, okay. No. Oh, it hit the table. I was trying to put it away, but it fell out. It's fine. Ooh. Here we go. It is all right. I will read it. You get 3 cards for the attribute. Give it about 1 and 1. It's fine. I tried to force it back. Oh, snap. So I tried to force it back into the deck because it was like sliding out. And as I was trying to like tilt it up so it would come back into the deck, it just fell out in reverse. Well, kind of on the side. So you get 3 cards. Oh, so snap. Hold up. Well, now I want to see. So if you know the Angelarium, probably just the year 2. This feels like there's a little bit of semyaza here. It's like as the angel sang, a single speck of light fell to the earth and cast a shadow. And then one day it looks back up to the heavens and it realizes who and what it is. And in that moment, it forsakes the existence that the universe had given it in order to reclaim what it originally was. And he gave himself a name, Angel of Pride, Semyaza. Oh, I kind of got the chills when I said that a little bit. Oof. Okay. I'm just going to keep sitting stuff where I don't know where it is. Because this is fun, right? Isn't it fun watching me look all over for things? That was the one nice thing about the hotel is I actually had like a desk. I don't know where this book is. Wait, is this it? Yeah, this is it. So first, I'm actually going to read the persona first and then the attribute. So the persona is the reflector, and I just passed it. Why is it like all of the multi-page personas? Why are all of the personas? I've looked in this book. Some you can fit the whole entry on one page. I guess Sagittarius is just too complex for a single page entry. We have struggled in abject loneliness, trapped on a snowbound mountainside, wrestling with the angel of no man's God, and we are exhausted from trying to hold our fragile self image. How pointless our resistance when all we crave is truth. The reflector is devoid of artifice and deception. His integrity is flawless, and he offers us relief from the absurdity of false heroics. Neither kind nor cruel, he is our honest twin, stripping away the illusion that entraps us. When we face him, his steady gaze slips like mercury through our pupils, down past our organs and into our central nervous system. From there, it searches out our soul's core. We try to cover our shame, but this stare ignores our prudish defenses. He has come to release us from the dreadful burden of pretense. And when we finally acknowledge that we have been unmasked, a deep laugh breaks free from our belly, releasing our fears into the gutter. Girl. Okay. Um, all right. The card that came out to clarify that is it's number one, existence. It feels to like clarifying using that as the persona, like this is inside of the belly. So this is what the no man's god angel, like as he stares through you, this is what it is trying to find. This is what it's looking for inside of you. And then when it finds it, it brings it to the surface. Rebirth. 10 of air, rebirth. We just saw the 10 of swords. So here's the 10 of swords energy again. 10 of swords isn't always bad though. The 10 of swords is one of my favorite cards because for me the 10 of swords signifies an end to some mental turmoil that no longer needs to exist. I mean, it can be difficult. You might cry a lot, but eventually you'll get past it. So you're not 8 of swords, 9 of swords, 8 of swords, 9 of swords, 8 of swords, 9 of swords. Can't like feel like you can't do anything and you feel powerless. And then it keeps you up at night because you're wondering about how you're gonna do whatever. And then it's like at the 10 of swords you break free. At the 10 of swords you can break free. Anyway. This almost made me think of something. So I'm putting the reflector and existence back on the right side. And as I set the cards down, I had a thought. Like it triggered a memory of something. But I don't know what. It might be like futurist sentinel energy. Where it's like something that comes back to make sure that it happens, kind of, but not really. The warrior is the attribute. Oh, they have tails? What? What? We're going to read the warrior's tail. Hold up. I didn't even know they had tails in the back of the book. Wait. Anybody tell me? The woman and her 3 children have been long pursued by 4 horsemen. This is the warrior. I'm not going to hold it up. So take a mental image. I'll hold it up. Fine. I'll try to be a little less lazy. But I can't guarantee it'll always be in frame fully. The woman and her 3 children have been long pursued by 4 horsemen. When they arrive at the narrow bridge that leads to freedom, they find their way barred by a mighty ogre in full armor. Squeezed between 2 deaths, the woman discards her sweet manner for her samurai ancestry. Drawing her bow, she looses an arrow. Drawing her bow, Sagittarius. She looses an arrow, knowing that her bow and the target are one, and that the missile that passes between them has forever found its mark. When the horsemen arrive, all they find is the bridge's guard with an arrow wedged deep into his helmet's narrow eye slit. Oh my gosh! Okay. Woo! Full body chills. This is the Archeo. I picked it up at Barnes and Noble yesterday by Nick what's his name? Bantock, creator of Griffin and Sabine, personal archetype cards. Okay, so that her samurai ancestry that she discarded her sweet manner for, it feels like that was down here. But if this is the persona, is this the thing that Sagittarius is doing? So it feels like the attribute is there is a need. There is a need for the gem of Sagittarius to shine. And Sagittarius has to go within itself, or Sagittarius is in the process of going within itself to do just that. I mean, it might be forced. I feel like I just want to leave it there, but I'll go ahead and I'll read. What? Hold on, I might have to actually get into these cards. The back of the book got some interesting stuff. The warrior is your fearless defender and champion who will protect you against those wishing you malice. Let him be your courage, your right arm, and he will not let you down. When he stands before you, you can be confident that no one will bully or intimidate you. He has the strength of a polar bear, the speed of a cheetah, and the reflexes of a cobra. His flesh is impenetrable, and his blade is razor sharp. Okay, we could have just stayed with the tail. We didn't have to read the attribute. It's fine. But I did. So if that gives you anything else, there you go. Maybe polar bears, maybe cobras, maybe cheetahs, maybe check out Rob's animal power totem video live from earlier. See, but it almost carries through a similar energy to the last one, in that, and the poetic, and realizing how, as something has stuck with you from 3, as something has stuck with you in life, and as you reach its conclusion, you can see it as the symphony that it is. With every part, every section playing a piece, and when you bring it all together, there's a certain melodious or mellifluousness to it. But if you listen to the pieces separately, some of them may sound great, some of them probably sound absolutely terrible. Some of them you might not even be able to hear, because where you're listening to it, they're not playing. They play later or before. And it's just that line. It's like she realized that her bow and her target were one, and that the arrow will forever find its mark. There's something about collapsing distance. There is, I guess, an element of some kind of oneness here. And I'm not surprised because of what the reflector is looking for. So the cards that came out, it's receptivity, which is the king question mark of water. No. 1 second. Hold up. It's the queen. But let me find her. The queen of emotions, the queen of water, receptivity. Oh, duh, because her hands are up and you can see her nipples, her boobies. Yeah. receptivity, inner voice, and rebirth. So when you're receptive to your inner voice, you encounter this rebirth energy. So because these are the cards, well, these clarify the attribute, which was the warrior. So I was going to say it feels more self initiated or self activated, that reflector, because she had to make the choice. She made the choice on the bridge to dig deep, to discard her existence, to discard the existence that the universe had given her, and to go by her true name. Well, she had to find it. I don't know if she was necessarily born with that knowledge, but she found it. She Samyazid. Oh, well, yeah, she shot the arrow. I don't know why I'm doing all this. She Samyazid. And then she got across the bridge. This is a powerful time for Sagittarius 4. And I might read this rebirth card. Because there are like it's like first it's the camel, then it's the lion, and then it's the child, question mark. I'll just find it in the book and read it because the book will do it more justice than I will. That's the 10 of the mind. Oh, wait. Are these all the masters? Yeah, this is all the masters. Okay. The 10 of clouds. It's funny because clouds have been coming out. Oh, that was it. It's been an hour. Well, it's been an hour since I started this. I'm going to put it back to the beginning. Actually, there's another hour. Darn it, I picked a different video and it's still an hour. So it's rebirth. In Zen, you are coming from nowhere and you are going to nowhere. Okay, we're not going to do. Oh, yeah, I guess we are because it's talking about mirrors. You are just now here, neither coming nor going. Everything passes by you. Your consciousness reflects it, but it does not get identified. When a lion roars in front of a mirror, do you think the mirror roars? Or when the lion is gone and a child comes dancing, the mirror completely forgets about the lion and starts dancing with the child? Do you think the mirror dances with the child? The mirror does nothing, it simply reflects. Your consciousness is only a mirror. Neither do you come nor do you go. Things come and go. You become young, you become old, you are alive, you are dead. All these states are simply reflections in an eternal pool of consciousness. The card depicts the evolution of consciousness as it is described by Rob's guy Nietzsche in his book. Thus spake Zarathustra. He speaks of the three levels of camel, lion, and child. The camel is sleepy, dull, self satisfied. He lives in delusion, thinking he's a mountain peak, but really he is so concerned with others' opinions that he hardly has any energy of his own. Emerging from the camel is the lion. When we realize we've been missing life, we start saying no to the demands of others. We move out of the crowd, alone and proud, roaring our truth. But this is not the end. Finally, the child emerges, neither acquiescent nor rebellious, but innocent and spontaneous and true to his own being. So, number 4 is be true to you. And apparently, you and your truth is some powerful mofo that ain't to be messed. What's at the bottom of this deck? control. I think this is the king of the mind. I think this is how I'm seeing it, Sagittarius. You interpret it to mean whatever, but this is how I'm seeing it. Or I guess I can move it up. Like the light that comes from the crown and control is what divides and separates these two. That's how I'm seeing it. So all the best with this. Sorrow, 9 of the mind. Stuck in between the two deaths. She reached into wherever to get that samurai spirit, right? In between the two, it's the warrior's tale. So that was very interesting. Whatever you find there, Sagittarius, is I would say is for you, and then you should. I mean, it feels like it changes your very being, in both ways, in both interpretations, definitions of the word being. Like it changes your being and almost like your anatomy, physiology, your brain chemistry, your astral, mental, emotional, whatever bodies. But it also changes your being and like the way that you go about doing things, like how you are, who you are, how you react to things. It changes your being. That was interesting. Let's go to 2. We'll do 1 last. We'll save the first for last because I feel like 1 goes first often enough. As a person whose last name starts with the W, and as a person whose sun sign is the last on the zodiac wheel, those who go first can go last today. So, let me put these back. Number 2, I'm going to say you are 10245. Oops. 2, 10250 probably now. You're 10250. Oh, I'm 4 seconds late. Timestamps are approximations, remember? Timestamps are approximations. So, are these in reverse? I don't even know what this word is. What is this? How do you even pronounce this? So, number 2, Sag number 2. One of your cards is actually one of the like 5 cards that I saw when they fell out. It was a card at the top, and it's Grace. But it came. Well, no, I don't think there is an upright for Grace. It's gracefully falling. Falling with grace. See, my friend who's a Sagittarius, who I would venture, I guess I got a few Sagittarius best friends. My Sagittarius best friend from college told me. There was another set. Okay, it's fine. Focus. She told me because my eyesight at night was a lot worse than what it is now. And I would be so afraid of like falling or bumping into something that I would move at slower than a snail's pace. And I couldn't trust my eyes when I did see that there was nothing there. I would get this sensation of like falling if I'm walking on a flat surface. And then she told me, I'm trying to like not cross lines in my brain right now. She told me that when she was younger, it's like, I don't know if she was just so clumsy or whatever, But she told me it's like you have to learn how to fall. Because then, even if you do fall, it's like you're not going to break a leg or a bone, or you're not going to dislocate or whatever. It's like if you know how to fall, you can fall, but protect yourself in the fall. Then you don't have to move as slow. Then you can actually get somewhere. Then you can actually start doing stuff. You get a little bit more freedom. That is your persona, the persona of grace. The attribute is one of Hyreth. I don't even know how to pronounce this. If I ask Bixby, I'll ask Bixby, but Bixby don't pronounce stuff like Siri do all the time. Hold up. What happened to the food? What happened to the food? Hi, Bixby. How do you pronounce Hiraeth?
Hiraeth.
It's pronounced Hiraeth. Roll the R. And it's a Welsh word. It has no exact cognate in English. The best we can do is homesickness. But that's like the difference between hardwood and laminate. Hiraeth. I don't know. Hiraeth? Hiraeth. I don't know. Anyway. Something like homesickness? Oof, well. Where are we going, Sagittarius? What are your attribute first? The Hiraeth is elusive. The Hiraeth? Roll the R. Hiraeth. She is the sense of loss and nostalgia we feel for a place or person that we never knew. What's up with Sagittarius? Okay, sorry. It's in reverse, technically. This is her upright. The Hiraeth is elusive. She is the sense of loss and nostalgia we feel for a place or person that we never knew. She is the missing, that which lingers like a dull, aching grief in your bones. If you chase her, she will recede. But if you invite her to make herself known, she may approach and relieve you of your hollow longing. And then grace is your persona. Another multi-page persona. Okay, all right. Sagittarius is complex. We get it. Grace's muscles ripple like water passing over rocks. Responding to surroundings, like all true athletes, Grace moves with, not against, the forces of nature. A lightness of step is as much a matter of spirit as it is of body. Poise and elegance are ingrained into the fabric of Grace's being. To watch Grace is to be both soothed and assured by the calm confidence of every motion. In Grace, you can see all the animal kingdom, the rise and fall of the leopard's shoulders as it glides over the grasslands, the breakneck vertical dive of the kestrel striking, and the arcing leap of the steel-heeled gazelle as it springs from danger. Grace's electric reactions refine coordination to exquisite perfection. But this. What? Hold up. What is this word? But this Elin is not merely physical. Elegance is personified through all Grace's mannerisms. Grace is, by definition, the embodiment of beauty. They using all kind of words I don't even know. I ain't even heard of. I don't even know how to pronounce. But the last one didn't. Oh, instead of saying like how do you pronounce it, I should have said pronounce it. But now I lost my phone. Oh, it's right here. Hi, Bixby. Hiraeth.
I didn't understand that.
Girl. Wow! Sorry. That was funny to me. I'm talking to Bixby like a robot, and Bixby is like, I didn't understand that. Okay. Hey Siri. Hi Bixby. Define Hiraeth.
Hiraeth is a Welsh word that has no direct
There you go.
English translation.
Thank you. Hiraeth. Hi Bixby. Define ELAN.
Sure. Here's the definition of eel. A snake-like fish.
Not eel. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Let's not get too lost. Grace is embodiment. Grace is first nature. Grace is, I don't even know if it is nature. It feels like grace is almost something that, I guess it would be like our first nature, but it feels like it's before even the first nature. And it said it moves with, not against, the forces of nature. And Hiraeth was like, if you welcome her in, then she'll tell you something. If you welcome her in, she'll let you know what you're missing or what is missing. What was it? She may approach you and relieve you of your hollow longing. This makes me think of, I did an archetypes pick a card a minute ago, and one of the archetypes was the siren. This makes me think of the siren in that. I could link it, but I'm not going to do that. I said it, so I will. I'll link it in the description box after this is over, if you want to check it out. But it talks about a dull longing for somewhere you've never been, someone you've never known, something you've never had, but you can feel the absence of it. And with grace is saying to follow that feeling because you might find it. It's almost Flusa, but it's not. Because you don't need someone to tell you that something is missing. And you don't need for someone to tell you that something is off. I don't even know what deck. I almost want to go for the Wild Unknown again. I don't even know what deck I would use to clarify this. I wonder if this is almost like rabbit holy. Sagittarius too might be prone to like going on, like falling into rabbit holes. But it's to fall with grace. I kind of want to use the All Winter Oracle. But that's another Oracle deck. We'll see. That's fine. I don't know why, but I'll try the All Winter Oracle. The All Winter Oracle, if I can find it. If I can reach it. It should be right down here. It's right under the Happy Tarot. Oh, come on. Can y'all see that's my cover of covering things? It's my cover of covering messes. Let's see. Oh. It almost feels like It does have a certain energy of Sagittarius 4, but maybe it's less provoked by something, or it's provoked by something different. Like, is that the others card? It is the others card. Goliath. So, oh, barely have to ask. And the persona. Oh, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. And persona. Oop, oop. There we go. We'll take this one. See this? So the attribute is self determination, try it, practice it, and baby. I just saw my baby cousin. He's not even a year old and he's already trying to get up. I mean, babies nowadays, they come out the womb singing, dancing, walking, beep booping on the tablets. Hmm. The card for the persona of grace is higher, which is interesting because since this is in reverse, it feels like it's falling, like it fell from higher. Is it going in the wrong direction? Would it be helpful to go in a different direction? So it feels the food's here. It feels like with baby, something is underdeveloped. I don't want to use the word underdeveloped. It's almost like without attention, without energy being sent to it, it doesn't mature. It doesn't get any older. It doesn't develop. It doesn't evolve. It doesn't grow. But with Hariath right here, it's like, well, how are you supposed to water what you can? It almost feels like a veil is placed over something. Like even if you were to look right at it, the light would shimmer and it would be like camouflaged, invisible. It's like cloaked or whatever. But with self determination and oh gosh, now it's on the oh wait, it didn't fall on the floor. With self determination and try it, practice it. See, it's the thing again. It's like don't fight Hariath or Hariath. I already forgot how it's pronounced. Don't fight it. Follow it. Because I don't know if like that will push it through the veil for it to be like conceived like a baby, and now you can actually touch, hold, interact with what's been growing inside of you. But also, once it's external to you, the way that you nurture and care for it grows. You can't just like you're not eating for two anymore, or you're not doing a lot of things for two anymore. It needs its own sustenance and nutrition. Grace and higher. I mean, I feel like one way to interpret it would be like angelic assistance. Another way is like some things have to fall in order to be perceived. If it's too high, you'll never be able to see it. It's like a star that's millions and trillions of light years away. It's almost like it doesn't matter how bright it is, you won't see it. Oh my gosh, is that Stella? I was curious one night, not too long ago, and I asked Bixby to tell me a bedtime story. And Bixby told me the story of a small star named Stella who people just couldn't see from Earth. And so nobody wished on Stella. And Stella felt overlooked and invisible and all kinds of stuff. And so, like, Stella had, she wanted to be a star that brought people luck and granted wishes and made people happy. Uh, and so one day she decided to wish on humans, to wish on the humans who felt invisible, unseen, unheard, overlooked, that one day someone would see and appreciate them. But we're always moving. It makes me also think of if you've ever seen like a graphic of the sun traveling through space. It's like the sun is traveling in a line and all the planets are like rotating around it. But it's like we have this earth centric view of like the sun is the stationary point and we're always just going around it. But in fact, what is that stationary point? What is the anchor? What is the axis of our solar system? Is moving, it's traveling. So we're moving and traveling. I don't know where that came from. But I read something yesterday that is bringing this to mind. And it said sometimes when things are too high, they have to fall in order for us to be able to interact with it, to feel it. And so maybe with this Horiath energy, all right, have a good night, Eve. I hope you have a great day at work tomorrow if you got to go to work. I hope you have a great day if you don't got to go to work. But if you got to go to work, no problem. Um, with this Horiath, it's almost like it doesn't fully cross into. I just talked about this recently. I don't remember when or where or why, but it was like something at the edge of the veil or something just beyond that's calling to us and that's like pulling us forward. It's this feels similar. It can't get close enough to make us fully aware, but it can get close enough to make you feel it. But it's almost like you feel something that you don't know what it is, but it must feel like home, or it must feel good, or it must feel right for you to have a longing for it. And so in that way it almost feels a little Sagittarius 3. And that's something like calling you somewhere. Self-determination, try it, practice it. Follow it. It might be a good time for you to start following your creative urges or nudges or your intuition or whatever. And that actually, it kind of makes me think of, it makes me think of, oh, what was it? Oh, it's gone. Oh, I lost it. So hey, Catherine. Hey, Janelle. How are y'all doing? Oh, what was it? What was it? I forget. I forgot. It's fine. Self-determination and try it, practice it. I think also too. Oh, it makes me think of one summer. Someone told me something about intuition, something blah blah blah. So I decided to every single time I got a little in my brain, I decided to follow it. If it was like, "Hey, grab your umbrella," I would grab my umbrella. Wouldn't even look at the weather. Even if the weather app said it ain't going 0%, -10,000% chance of rain. If it said, "Hey, grab the umbrella," I grabbed the umbrella because I had enough experiences that summer when it was like I didn't grab my wallet and then I went somewhere and it's like, man, I need my wallet. I didn't grab my keys. I didn't grab this. I didn't grab that. And then I needed it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get in the habit of practice of, and it's kind of been happening to me lately here. But today I listened to it. Today I listened to it. So my office is upstairs, but I work downstairs and I ain't trying to go up and downstairs all day. But I went upstairs to take lunch. And when I went upstairs, I took my glasses, my work glasses, my safety glasses, and my pen. But I didn't use them when I was eating, so I kind of forgot about them. And then it was time to go back downstairs and get back to work. And I was about to head down the stairs. But I was like, did I bring my pen and my glasses up here? And I was like, well, I haven't used them, so probably no. In fact, I was using a different pen, a pen that I don't like. And I was like, why would I be using that pen if the pen that I do like was up there? But something told me to go back and check. It's like it's better to go back and check to see that they're not there than it is to make it downstairs, get into the lab, and then realize that I forgot it upstairs. And they were indeed upstairs. But I had enough experiences within the past like week again where I'm like, okay, I need to start listening to that thing that tells me to like check again or to do this or to do that. It reminds me of when I did that, basically. But the self determination, try it, practice it. I don't know if it would help to dial in on intuition and discernment. I don't know if it would help to almost like get you comfortable. Like it would strengthen that relationship to like first it's like it's an umbrella, it's a pair of keys, it's like a business card, it's a piece of paper, it's a napkin. Then it's like something bigger. It's like approach this person or it has like it increases in the power to like change and affect your life. You know what I mean? It might be a good time to practice listening to your intuition or playing with your intuition or your discernment in whatever way is fun and resonant for you. Because again, it feels like something may be coming in that's going to try to sort of lure you to it in a good way. Did I say this was the siren or did I say that was a different one? I think I said it for this one because there's that siren energy again. But it feels like that. I will link that in the description after this video is over. Yes, Hiraeth, Hiraeth. It's a Welsh word for longing for a place that you don't know or a person that you've never met. So, yes. All right. The last Sagittarius. I think I almost did like Taurus. Oh, come on. No. 2/3. Well, half of the deck just slid right onto the. I just pushed it right off the table. It's fine. Oh, come on. This deck is like, you haven't used me in a while. I got things to say. I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry, but now is not the time because I'm putting you away. Oh, goodness. Oh, who is this? Oh. It's still a yes. This makes me think of the South Node for some reason. I don't know. It's still a yes. Purpose, guidance, and solstice. Solstice, guidance, purpose. It's still a yes. Um, so maybe there was something that happened around the solstice, and maybe you like, well, solstice was a minute ago. Is this still whatever? It's still a yes. Maybe it's struggling to precipitate into your reality, to become material, to become seen. Um, maybe, oof. I guess I never thought of like a Sagittarius that is carrying something. I think I kind of did though. I almost touched on it. A Sagittarius that is carrying something that will greatly benefit the collective, or it's like it'll greatly benefit other people, or and it the card of purpose did come out. It could be tied to your purpose. Maybe there's something that has always been within you to pursue, but it's never seemed feasible or realistic, or maybe you've never encountered someone who took it seriously. Maybe they laughed at you, called you crazy, said like, well, what would be the purpose or the point of that? Like nobody would be interested or whatever. I don't know. Some Sagittarius may be carrying something that the world needs to help it move forward, or it might be something of benefit when the world moves forward. It almost makes me think of Carissa, Flavored Vivid, and the New Earth, and what you do in the New Earth, you know. Or it could be something as not simple, but it could be something like you are in a board meeting at work and they are discussing how to do X or Y or Z. Oh, it's almost like Sagittarius 2 again with the observer and the public. Well, that's not how it ended up ultimately playing out, but um, maybe there's, I don't know, but it feels like something requires or not requires. If that's the case, it's like, it's almost like High Priestess title card. Something at some point will require a certain experience. And the Heraith is going to get you that experience. You might not even know what it's for when it's happening. You might have already had the experience and you don't know why you had that experience. You don't know why something happened. But then maybe one day something else will happen and you'll have that very experience to draw from. And that experience it will unfold into something that you would never have guessed. Maybe right now it's still a wee babe. Oh, the healer, the healer. Okay, well, so Sagittarius number one, least but not last, least and last actually, numerically the least, and you're the last. Sorry. um, one is, I'll just say 134.50 because I think that's roughly accurate. 134. Oof, 134.30. Um, Timestamps are approximations. Well, by the time I go in and fix it, it'll be 134.50. So go back 30 seconds. It's fine. I'll just waste 10 more seconds. Sagittarius number one. Oh, I would say I literally just talked about how the sun is moving through space, and as we orbit around it, we also move through space, even if we feel more of our rotational movement than our horizontal movement. Makes me think of the rack and pinion, which converts rotational movement to linear movement by interlocking two things. Something converts, and Sagittarius 4, I think. No, I think that was Sagittarius 3 too. There was, yeah, it was Sagittarius 3. There was a temperance energy somewhere between the beginning and the end, and temperance is Sagittarius. So it's Sagittarius that stands at the beginning and it stands at the end. Your cards are the healer. The healer is your attribute. Your persona is the shadow diver. The attribute of the healer with the persona of the shadow diver, doing the things that need to be done that no one else desires. Are you a Scorpio, Sagittarius number one? If not, oh, you could be on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius. You could be like in October, November, October, November. You could be in November Sagittarius. Because the month of November starts with Scorpio, right? Scorpio and Sagittarius, and then Capricorn is December. I don't know. The shadow diver is interesting though, and it feels like, is that my mama telling me that food out there? No, it's not. That is not my mother. That's the weather app letting me know it's 72 degrees outside. 72 might be a number. You could be born in 72. Let me stop. There's something about the manipulation of perspective, question mark, or there's something about perspective, because in the healer it's flat, it's a circle, and there are these connections, but in the shadow diver it's a spiral. Now if you look at it from a certain angle it's the same, but honestly it feels like the shadow diver, this feels like it's some kind of dark fairy. I mean, that's what it's like. It's got little wings. I'm trying to anthropomorphize whatever this is, and it's looking like a fairy. But instead of taking the spiral down, it's James Bonding from the roof, and it's like lowering itself right into the center. Like that's the rope from the roof, and it's just going to slide right down the middle instead of taking the stairs. And when you do that, it guarantees you a way out. Otherwise, I mean, well, I guess, well, it's a fairy. I guess fairies can fly regardless. Not if it's a gravitational thing. Like the deeper you go, the higher the gravity. So even fairies can't fly. Or this fairy can't fly when you get that far down. Anyway, let me not get lost in the metaphor. Be less Pisces, Patrick. Sorry. I'm about to go on a whole tangent just off of that comment. Another new deck that I got is the Fairy Tarot. And I got the Fairy Tarot, Fairy, because I just got the Fairy Oracle, Faerie, question mark. Where them cards go? And I was in Barnes and Noble again, and I was like, oh, I can get the Fairy Tarot for the Fairy Oracle. Hey, thank you, Matt. I just need to focus because I will forget and get lost on a tangent that's not relevant. It guarantees a way out. You take the rope down, you can climb it right back up. There was a card of an initiation into the underworld that came out recently. And then Abraham came out in the Leo season, Mausolea Oracle of Souls. And it felt like I talked about the shades from the Magicians. I don't know if I said the show, but the shades are in the Magicians. But the shades are like basically inner children, question mark, if I remember correctly. And so they're what like lights somebody up, you know. And then I was thinking of Inanna Ishtar, question mark, and I think also goddess Ninlil, goddess Ninlil. Gates 1 and 2. They got sent into the underworld, and then they emerged from the underworld different. I guess that's kind of anyway. Let me not get too lost. I need to focus on this one. It's kind of making me think of that, but that makes me think of something else because I remember one day there was an analogy or a metaphor of someone in the underworld who is doing underworld things, being supervised by underworld beings, but they didn't like die. Like they didn't find themselves in the underworld through conventional means. And so because of that, they didn't have to stay there. But the underworld supervisors weren't going to tell that individual that they didn't have to stay there. They don't get any preferential treatment, so you treat them like the rest of them. But when the person realizes that they're not bound to the underworld, they can just leave. I don't remember where that came out a while ago. Probably, I mean, I've been on the Persephone kick for a hot minute, being like, you know, she down in the underworld for a reason. Her mama need to grow up and leave her down there because there's something that she brings to the underworld that contributes something to the cycle. But because she keeps leaving, there's something that doesn't reach completion, something that gets stuck on a loop. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Because her mama's like, well, if you ain't here, then everybody on earth gonna suffer because ain't nothing gonna grow. And it's like, wow, okay, well, anyway, focus, Patrick, focus. I'm gonna use the fairy tarot for this one. I'm pretty sure this is the same person that did the Archangel Tarot Power cards, Archangel Power Tarot cards, Archangel Power cards. Radley Valentine, question mark. Hay House, question mark. And I will actually read these. Actually, I won't. I'm not going to read these. It's feeling like the attribute of the healer is to bring certain cycles to an end and to bring other cycles. It's like to end certain cycles and to begin others. That's what the healer does. So we can exit so that we actually heal. Represented by the wheel of interconnectedness. The attribute is the shadow diver. I don't. Again, I have a question of this time. It's a little louder of whether shadow diving is the thing to do in this particular instance, or if it shouldn't be the opposite of shadow diving. In Patrick's world, shadow works both ways. That which obstructs the light casts a shadow, just like that which obstructs the dark casts a shadow. Not everything that obstructs the dark is light. Not everything that obstructs light is dark. Most things that obstruct light aren't dark, in fact, because in dark and light there is no conflict or competition. Darkness is, light is. They both are. But maybe it's diving into the shadow on the other side. Okay. Let's do the persona first. Shadow Diver. Shadow Diver. This is a fresh deck, so they stick a little bit. Oh, okay. Well. Princess of Spring. With the 5 of Autumn at the bottom. Now let's get into the attributes of the healer. I'm trying to get the ring shuffle on. See, I thought it didn't work, but it actually did. All right. Oh, okay. We will take those. Oh, Snap Justice is at the bottom of the deck. Oh, and I picked up both cards face down. Interesting. Let's go with the. I'm going to make sure I ain't got no card left on it. I mean, no. No, it doesn't look like any cards are down there. So. Justice is at the bottom of the deck with the King of Winter behind it. Take the time to review the details carefully. You will win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. This is interesting. We see two people in Justice, dressed similarly, but different enough that we can say that it's not a mirror reflection with how we usually think of mirrors. It's not an earthly mirror. It also feels very Excalibur, but the sword isn't in the stone. That's the sword of justice in neither's hand. Like that one has the scale, this one should have the sword, but she ain't picked it up yet. I feel like this answers the question of the 10 of the mind. This is a mirror that does not forget. When the lion roars into the mirror, does the mirror roar back? And then when the child is in front of the mirror dancing, does the mirror forget that it was once the lion? And does the mirror dance with the child? That makes me think of a line in the Umbrella Academy when I think her name is Lila was like, "How does yogurt know when to stop being milk?" or something like that. She was like, "How does it know when to stop being milk?" This almost feels like at one point Justice is holding the scale. And now Justice is about to take the sword. It's almost like it's two separate instances, or it's like two parallel worlds. On one side, it feels like they're both floating. Both the scale and the sword are suspended. But on her side, she's taken the scale in hand. On side A. On side B still has to take the sword. And so maybe that's why shadow diving isn't necessarily going to be helpful. Because maybe you already got what you need from the shadow. Or from the dark or wherever, whatever. And you know what? There is almost a many paths energy here. With the healer, we can see four main. Well, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 main branches, but like two of them merge, so we get four. Four main branches. It's almost like in every timeline, there's something else that Sagittarius 1 needs to get. And when you have all four of them together, you emerge as the healer. If it's four different things, it's easiest to make it elements: water, earth, fire, and air. When you have a mastery of all four of them together, then you come to the center and you get an understanding of ether, life. And with an understanding of ether life, you can direct the flow of energy to do all kinds of stuff and heal in miraculous ways. Let me stop. Let me know. I mean, possibly, potentially, who knows? And that's why it's almost like it feels like there's something that has already been acquired in this way. And so to continue would be to get diminishing results. It also makes me think of when I drank the Ool Room with Reem. And we were both like, I don't think this is really doing nothing. I mean, I think we felt like a little giddy maybe, but like that was it. And then she was like, "Oh, I'm about to drink another one." And then she was like, "Oh, I think it's starting to hit. I'm gonna go meditate." She was like, "You should meditate too." And then I did, and it was this world of darkness, and there was some shadowy vortex thing, and there were these shadowy creature being things that approached me, and they were like, "We're waiting on you." Oh, I just thought about this the other day. We're waiting on you. We're waiting on your light. And when the light inside turned on, it pushed the darkness back into position. It's almost like without that light, nothing stopped the darkness from spreading and from overstepping and from encroaching. Then it's almost like darkness and shadow almost became the same thing. They blurred, they were indistinguishable. But when the light turned on, it chased out the shadow. And when light met darkness, it was like light was white, darkness was black. And when they met, everything was technicolor, every shade in between. But it was darkness waiting on light to chase out shadow, or it was shadow waiting on light to put it into its proper proportion or where it needed to be. So anyway, Princess of Spring is optimistic, enthusiastic, creative, and energetic. It is time to go after your dreams. Do something that expands your horizons. Let your creativity take flight for the persona of the Shadow Diver. So maybe oh, snap. Hold up. You remember how I was like, this is like, it is kind of sort of like a mirror, but it's like a mirror where like one side is like a different parallel dimension or something like that. Like it's the mirror that doesn't forget when it was the lion. And then there's the mirror that doesn't forget when it was the camel. And then there's the mirror that doesn't forget when it was the child. Whatever you put in front of the mirror, those mirrors don't forget. You get a different mirror when you become something else anyway. And when you get all these mirrors together, you get a full picture of the thing in the middle. Like, what are all of these mirrors reflecting? They all reflect a different perspective of or piece of the truth anyway, right? Because one part of the mirror had the scales, the other part of the mirror hasn't yet picked up the sword. Well, I picked up the Shadow Diver card, and we can see our fairy descending here, but there's the shadow of the rope and there's nothing on it. You see that? There's the shadow right there. Where's her shadow or his shadow? Where's their shadow? I was originally going to say I think it's ascending, I think it's already delved into the shadow. It's gotten whatever it needed, and now it has to bring it back to the light. It also makes me think of Orpheus and Eurydice, how Orpheus made his descent into the underworld to rescue his lover from the clutches of Hades. And Hades was like, fine, you can have her. All you got to do is get her out of here. But if you turn around for any reason, she will come right back here. So Orpheus, he made it past Cerberus. He lulled it to sleep with his lyre. He did all these things to get down to Eurydice. They're literally at the gate, at the doorway, at the terminal, at the portal into the above ground, into the world. But since Eurydice was a ghost, he couldn't hear her. He couldn't smell her. He couldn't physically feel her there. So he gets all the way into the end, right before the finish line, and he turns around to make sure that she's still there. And as soon as he turns around to make sure that he's still there, she's still there, literally right in front of the finish line, she gets sent right back to the heart of the underworld. He was literally right there. He made it all that way, and then doubt crept in. Like, have I done this all for nothing? It's like, dude, you can't just like cross the line first and then find out like you're this close. Why break whatever now? I don't know. Anyway, it feels like it's ascending. Oh, when the Kurds, I was reading cards when the cards decided to collaborate, and I was confused. I didn't get it. Anyway, with this Princess of Spring, it might actually be ascending. Or it might be waiting to ascend. Curds! Yogurt! Oh, okay. Oh, that's another hour. 1 second. 3 hours and 45 minutes when I don't need it. Well, I've already watched 2 hours and 47 minutes of this 3 hours and 45 minutes. So this time I technically get less than an hour. Gotcha. And it feels like once you break light, having, like, once you complete the return, complete the ascent from the underworld, Sagittarius one, then again, it's like, it feels like all of the pieces are going to be in play for something. 2 cards face down for the attribute of healer, and they are strength. So we see strength again, and 11 strength again. Strength can either be 8 or 11. It's flip flops with justice, and we already got justice number 8, so I should have known that justice is an 11. I think in my barely educated, mostly uneducated tarot opinion, I think Thoth base has in 8 justice and 11 strength, and Rider Waite base has an 11 justice and an 8 strength, I think. But again, I don't know. I think I saw it in a video a long time ago. I guess that's kind of crazy to think that. Anyway, strength and the Queen of Autumn. The Queen of Autumn is generous, stylish, gracious, and practical. Be practical with respect to how you proceed, the ability to make anything more beautiful, meeting someone who can help you fulfill your dreams, meeting someone who can help your dreams come true. And then strength is the grace and inner strength, grace and inner strength needed to overcome challenges, the power of kindness and forgiveness, time to embrace how wonderful you are. We see the lamb and the lion and the child. So it's instead of a camel, we get a lamb. And instead of a child, we get a full grown woman. Are they not the same? Are they not the same person? Maybe the person that can help your dreams come true is you, Sagittarius. But this feels like an integration of Sagittarius in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Again, like when you ascend, when you complete the ascent, there is something different. I almost would be tempted to say you complete your ascent into a world that is different than the world you knew when you made it, made the descent. Maybe that's all this parallel, whatever, whatever. I don't know. So, Sagittarius, one, whatever you've been doing, it's time to do the opposite. Not like the opposite, but it's like if you've been overly like isolated and doing everything by yourself, maybe it's time to experience collaboration with other people. If you've been overly focused on like shadow work and heavy stuff, maybe it's time to focus on the not as heavy stuff. And by that, it's almost like putting the fruits of that shadow work into practice. You know what I mean? It's like you've cleared out the land. You've irrigated it, you've aerated the soil, you've done everything you need to do to prepare your soil to take seed. Now start planting the seeds and start watering them. And also there's a part where it's like don't be afraid to be all of who you are. All of who you are. Whoever that is and whatever that is. And those that are meant to stick around will. And those who are meant to stick around will find you. And those can be people, it can be places, it can be things, nouns. You can even have some proper nouns in there. You can throw in some names. You can have some pronouns in there. Some he, she's, they's, some it's, maybe. Yeah. So I'm not going to get a final card from all of the decks that I use like I was originally thinking because I've been pulling for a minute and my food is already cold. But I will get a final Archeo archetype because I love them. And I will read in full the entry, the persona, and the tale in the back of the book because they have those. And I just found out. But like I said, I barely really use these. So, time to timestamp the wrap up 203. Oh, I forgot to do my thing. Wrap up 203. Oh. It is my mama. Yes, I'm still alive. I feel like staying live just so I don't have to. Who wants to go for another 5 hours? My mom. Oh, wow. Well, I guess that's it. I hope you all have a great whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And until next time, Sagittarius, I hope you found something helpful. Take it as it resonates, when it resonates, if it resonates, and if it don't resonate, don't take it. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye. Thanks for being here, everybody.